Welcome to the Pinstripe Chronicles. I am Tats. I am here with Rob, and we will be breaking down everything that was supposed to be going on between the prospects. And we will be going into what expectations we have for Boone's interview on the Michael K Show today. We'll be breaking that all down right here on Northeast Streaming Sports, on Twitch, on YouTube, and let's talk some Yankee baseball. Hi, I am Tats. I'm here with Rob, and let's get right into it with this whole thing with expectations on Michael K show today at 5:00. You'll be talking with Aaron Boone, and we know that he's going to be talking with about how the postseason went down, expectations from the from the season that we had. What we should be looking forward to next season and this off season. Is this just a smokescreen just to put, just to get out there, being that he is going to be coming back next year? Or is he actually going to have a viable message that the fans can actually believe in?
No. Anyone who's expecting Boone to say anything other than a lip service is expecting too much. It's going to be the same. It wasn't how we wanted it to end. We wish we could have done better. We had key players out, certain moves, blah blah blah. We're gonna hear the same old. And then if Michael K asks the tough questions, and maybe Aaron Boone will give him a different answer. But I'm not expecting anything significant. It's not like he's gonna come out and say, "Yeah, Cashman's gonna be gone, and we're gonna have a whole new coaching staff and all that." It's not gonna be. It's just gonna be the same stuff you would hear during the regular season. It's just gonna be Boone making his excuses at the end of the season.
Yeah, Donald, you had commented on the tweet from Michael K about Boone's interview coming later this afternoon. If you were Michael K, what would your main question be to Boone on what happened this year?
I mean, I would press him on the 2004 Red Sox video.
Yeah.
It's an embarrassment to the franchise. We've talked about it ad nauseum, but it is one of the most disgraceful motivational techniques I have ever come across. It would be like Bill Belichick calling Tom Coughlin, talking about 2007, 2011 to motivate the Patriots. I mean, what do they think was going to happen? How does that motivate your team? Here's a complete embarrassment. Let's go and talk about another embarrassment. It's just it. Also, the worst thing is that team in 2004 had a hell of a lot more heart than this team, and a hell of a lot more winners on this team. And you're talking about guys like Derek Jeter and Bernie Williams and Mariano Rivera, all part of what was once glorious about this franchise, and Aaron Boone is representing everything that isn't glorious about this franchise. So that's my very first thing. I would press him on that. I would certainly press him on where are these decisions coming from? Like these lanes that he keeps talking about. I mean, we all really know what the answer is, but I'd like to hear it from him. For instance, why would you feel that in a tie game in game one of the championship series that it's okay not to put in any of your high leverage relievers? None. That is really hard to justify. So I would like to know, was it him in the top of his head, or is that coming from the front office above him 24 hours before the game, telling him which pitchers are available to him? Because the thing is, whatever answer he gives is going to be very enlightening. If he says, well, this is a mutual thing that we all come across, that means the front office is telling him what to do.
Yeah.
If he goes, no, I decided, that means he doesn't know what the hell he's doing. Either way, it's going to be a very enlightening answer. So that's why you have to answer these questions. That's why you have to ask him these questions. That's the second thing I would ask. Third thing I would ask is, if his communication skills are so great, why did Holmes call him out? Why did Severino call him out for his decisions? And why did he not tell Bader that he was leading off? If you had a player who was you're wanting to spark, Why would you not go to him and say, listen, man, we need you at the top of the order. Can you do it? That is communication. Aaron Boone doesn't show that, but apparently that's the only thing he's being hired for. So again, his answer will be very enlightening, because what was the reason why the Yankees hired him? Communication skills. What is the thing that he didn't do this postseason? Communication skills. So that's another thing that you have to ask. The thing is, we know what the answers are going to be. Complete bullshit. But whatever he gives is going to be enlightening as to how this is being put together. My personal opinion, it was the worst managed postseason I've ever seen in 25 plus years of watching the team. I'm sure there'll be many that agree. And it's time to hold them to account. So yeah, those questions I think will be very enlightening. I would certainly love to know why he felt that a shortstop carousel was the right way to go. Did he really honestly think that a daily shortstop was the answer in the postseason in terms of chemistry between second base and shortstop, which is one of the most underrated chemistries in the game? It's very important that you have a double play combo which you trust. And just look at what happened when Gleyber Torres threw a normal toss-up for a double play, and it went right over IKF's head because there was no chemistry. Probably IKF's been sitting for all these days, and people don't trust him, which is quite obvious. So once again, it all just comes down to terrible management. So I would like him to be pressed on that.
Yeah. Luca adds to it. What's going on, Luca? Plus, why did Boone give up on calling Game 3 is another question. Exactly.
Great question.
Michael here, 2023, 2020, the same show, just different year. Yeah, it's going to be that.
Yep. The roll it back Yankees. Hashtag roll it back.
Yeah. Now, yes, the injuries were a factor. But when you're the leader of a clubhouse, you need to have the skills and the ability to have control of the locker room. Is all right. We may not have King, we may not have Green, Britton went down just as quick as he came up, but we still have a job to do. We still have the ability. He's not motivating these players to up their game because somebody's not not with them. That's a problem when you're a manager. How do you lead your team when you don't have faith in the players that you're calling on? Because you're going to use the injuries as an excuse. That's not it's an explanation of why you may have had to go to somebody. But the whole thing is, like you said, Donald, with all these lanes that he puts everybody in. It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. It doesn't work. Everybody needs to know, all right, I'm the leadoff batter for the season. Unless something special circumstance. You're the closer. You're the setup guy. You're our ace. He did this whole big shuffle all year and expected it to work all year.
It's because it's not his team. It's Brian Cashman's team. Cashman's making these decisions. They'll never admit it. They will never admit it. But we know it. We know it's true because the Yankees like to have him as their mouthpiece to say the things that they can't say to give it away. Everyone knows who's running the ship. It's not Aaron Boone, because we saw what Aaron Boone was able to do with this team, the same team basically that we ran in the postseason, mind you. And you can actually say the team that we were winning 70 games with was weaker than the team we went into the postseason with. So, because this was before the deadline, and we were not struggling like this. We had Joey Gallo and Aaron Hicks playing almost every day, and we were still winning games. So you tell me. This is why I will stick by what I said. Do I think Aaron Boone's the greatest manager? No. But do I think he can be without the puppet strings pulling him back? Yes, because we saw it this season. You don't win 70 games that fast by accident. It just doesn't happen. The Yankees were able to do something pretty spectacular earlier this season, and then once the first sign of struggles came, which we know was going to happen because it always does, they put the strings back on. They put the leash back on and said, okay, it's our show again. They should have never done that. You knew you were going to struggle. Those winning ways were not sustainable. No team in baseball is going to continue unless you're the 98 Yankees, but no one's the 98 Yankees anymore. So even the Dodgers hit a little snag early in the season, and they finished strong. But I just don't like how they did that because you don't win. Where were we 70 and something before we started going on that terrible summer streak? You don't get there by accident. We wasn't like we were winning these fluky games. We were coming back constantly and just doing good things that good baseball teams do to win. And Aaron Boone was making good decisions. Not one of us were criticizing him for about 2-3 months for anything significant. We were like, they could have done this differently, but we're like, otherwise, he's been really good. We were giving him A grades by the All-Star break. Like, he's been great this year. And then once we got to October, it's like, well, I give him a D, I give him an F, because you just saw two different managers. He was giving gut answers. He was firing back at reporters early in the season. Remember that? Then it was just back to the old, same old when the Yankees started struggling. So you can't tell me that this wasn't Cashman saying, okay, you're starting to lose again. Experiment's over. I'm putting the leash back on you. So
okay, so you're thinking there's maybe that in the first half more of it was to do with Aaron Boone. So what point would you say in the season that they put the leash back on Aaron Boone? What would you say?
Once that series with Houston in the Bronx went down, and we got no hit, we were able to split it. We didn't start losing after that, but it was like right after the All-Star break, they go to Houston, they get beat, and then the team just started to look different. Like all of a sudden he was making bad moves. Yeah, they were making just questionable moves. Like he wasn't making these bullpen moves early. Like just 2 weeks ago, he wasn't doing these things. Like he was pulling guys too early. He was leaving guys in too late. Like this is 2021 Boone all over again. Then we went on that awful month of August, and it was the same old from last year. So it's like once the All-Star break ended, it's like Cashman took over again.
That's it. I'm not sure whether it was the Yankees struggling that put the leash on Boone. I have a feeling that the Yankees front office thought that they already won the division by the All-Star break. And then they were like, right, now we can go into rest mode, and now we can rest for October. And so basically from the very first game after the All-Star break, we played the Astros. We forced in Domingo Germán, who hadn't pitched at all, in a start. It backfired, and then they started doing odd kind of bullpen games here and there, crazy lineups against the Astros, and that set the Yankee train way off the track, and then it just absolutely hurtled off a cliff towards a cliff, and we were losing basically every single game. The Yankees front office got comfortable. They thought, oh, we got this in the bag. Now we can go back to what we think works, which is resting guys 3 times out of 5. We basically switch the light off. We'll turn it back on in October. And that was the analytics decision. That was a Brian Cashman decision and an Aaron Boone decision together. And it almost cost us the division because they got far too comfortable far too early. It was unjustifiable to do that in July. If you wanted to do that at the end of August, when you've already won the division, okay, I could buy it. But in July, when you're still August, September, bit of October to play in baseball, regulation baseball, bizarre, terrible management. But that's what the Yankees did in the COVID season. Let's not forget the COVID season, right off the gate. What did the Yankees do? Won every single game. People were like, are the Yankees ever going to lose? Right? That was maybe a month into the 60-game season, right? The Yankees were on fire. But then the Yankees front office were like, great, we've done it. We're fine. We can just relax now. And then basically tanked, completely tanked the rest of the season, and then ended up tanking on October. Baseball isn't a freaking light switch. You can't just turn the light off and go, oh, we'll be ready for October. It doesn't work that way. It's a game of momentum. Just look at the Phillies right now. They're in the World Series. Why? Because they build up momentum. They've been on a torrid streak right through July. They picked up through August, September, October, and now they're in the World Series. It's a game of momentum, man. It really is. It's not a game where you go, right, I'm going to rest up and I'm going to have 100% energy. It's not like a computer game. So the Yankee front office is behind that.
Yeah, it's the biggest problem, and to
Can I just stop you there?
saying,
Tony,
good morning,
just
Tony.
I just want to stop you there, Ted. Tony, really glad to have you on again, man. It's been a long time. I hope you're doing well. It's really good to have you back on, man. All the best.
But the to echo what you were saying, the problem that the Yankees had once they had that tremendous, the lead that they had, was they had this mindset where, all right, now we can start tinkering a little bit to see if, with this collective unit, they're playing so well. Let's see if we can go back to the way that we wanted to do it. And they started experimenting because they had this lead and they were never able to recapture the momentum and the camaraderie amongst the players because they had them all in so many different directions that they weren't able to get back on track. And that's why we ended up almost losing the division lead to Tampa. So that's where Cashman, where we always go to the reason Cashman thinks he's the smartest man in the room. He thinks he's the smartest executive in baseball. And it's just unacceptable. You have to, if you see something's wrong, don't change it just because you want to change it. Keep it on. But Luca's back. Luca's on fire today. Why were the lineups in the middle of the summer slump, where three of your most important players would take off at a time, mailing in games, LaCastro, Gonzalez, Higgy in the same lineup?
Exactly my point. Bizarre. Another good point from Luca. Yankees mailed in games last year as well. That series in Detroit pissed me off.
Oh, we went off on that series.
That was a joke.
What they do, because that goes back to my point. Because if you look at this year, most of our success in the past few years has come in the second half of the year. The Yankees will play above 500 to 500 ball the first half, and they'll turn it on in the second half, and that's when they'll make their run. This year was the opposite, and it almost cost the division. So what you said, Donald, is absolutely true. The Yankees get comfortable, and they go, we got it in the bag. I remember even when we were up by 15 games, I said, this thing's not over yet because there's still too much baseball left. And then they started to lose and lose and lose and lose. All of a sudden, it was like 3.5 games. You're like, they're going to blow it. And then luckily we didn't. But this is all the front office. This is Brian Cashman. Because Aaron Boone was not doing this stuff early in the season. He was playing the same exact lineup every day. There was a little rest here and there. Like you would see Stanton get a day off, and they had that infield alignment going, so Donaldson wouldn't play, then Torres wouldn't play, and so on. But it was working. All of a sudden, they start losing. Second half comes around. They have this big lead. They're comfortable. And like what Luca just mentioned, you're starting to see all these bench players that aren't really that good playing every single day. And they're sitting everybody. Like, you need to start winning games. And the lineup was different daily. Every single day. You did not know who was going to play where. That was not happening when we were winning games. It was the same lineup, give or take a couple of guys being changed around because of rest. But it was the same lineup every single day. The second Giancarlo Stanton got hurt, that changed.
It's a good point. Yeah, when you follow the timeline, that was the start of the spiral. Because now we had to start playing mix and match, and I think that's also that correlates when Cashman decided to take the put the leash back on Boone, because that's when you saw in the press in the post game shows you saw Boone's demeanor change a lot. You didn't look as relaxed, even after the losses when they were on that run. So it's. Cashman has got to take a step back and realize that he hired a manager to manage. He's the GM. His job is to just get Boone the players that Boone can work with. If they can't work together and get the right team together, then somebody's got to go. And Boone's already on the contract. Cashman is expected to be on the contract. Is why would he make a press conference if he's not coming back to the Yankees? So, but that's the story for that. That's an argument for another day. But to get to Tony's comment here, this isn't about the Yankees, but I'm so mad about last night with pulling the pitcher during a no-hitter. I'm so sick of managers just ignoring historic moments. Yeah, I was watching that. And the again, Donald and I saw firsthand, that the Astros pitching is he had another no-hitter Yeah, but why? Yeah, why are they pulling these pitches out? His pitch count wasn't that bad.
It was in the 90s. They weren't going to pitch him for 9 innings. There's no way. Not in the World Series.
It's the World Series. You got to let these guys go. I'm sorry.
So I'll counter with that. Let's say he does throw the no-hitter and throws like 100-something pitches, 150, just for the no-hitter, and you don't have him available for his next start. He's like your second best pitcher right now. He actually might be their best pitcher because Verlander stinks unless he pitches against us, and McCullers got rocked the other night. So it's their best pitcher.
And in Game 4, what are the odds of him even getting another start?
Short rest, Game 7.
Nah, they would. I don't. Yeah, it's possible, but I mean, the Phillies are going to take it anyway in 6. So.
This is about Christian Javier is absolutely insane. Like he is legit, like unstoppable. He's untouchable. But the thing is, they've got Montero and they've got Presley. They've got really good arms. They've got Abreu. They got legit arms that they trust. So even if their starter does go 6 no-hit innings, they know that they've got 3 relievers that'll just come in and complete the no-hitter, as we've already seen against the Yankees, and we were there firsthand. But I think Tony's point is maybe more to the fact that once again analytics is taking over maybe historic moments. Like you would love to see a pitcher go deep into games more, especially. It's far more exciting that way. But if he had over 90 pitches after 6 innings, then at most you could only ask him to do one more inning. It's not really feasible to ask him to go 9 innings. And at the end of the day, it was still a contest. So they probably wanted to make sure that they got the win first and foremost. But it's an interesting debate to have. But, first of all, just tip of the cap to Javier. The dude's insane. Absolutely insane.
He's filthy. Like I said, like you said, we were there when he threw it against the Yankees. And when his pitches are working, you're not hitting them.
No, not at all.
Because he's been dominant all year. And I hate giving credit to the Astros. I despise that organization. But they've been putting it together with their pitching staff this year. With Luca, the Yankees do with mailing in games is taking on weight loss and lose 60% of the weight, then assume that weight, then lose the weight until it's gained. No, it's all right. So you have.
Yeah, I remember too. David Cohn pitched like it was 130 pitches against the Mariners in 1995. Yeah. I seem to remember in the playoffs, but then he got an arm aneurysm from that. So like that's why they do have a 100 pitch limit now these days in the modern day. But yeah, I remember that too, man.
No, I think it's also because this is an interesting topic. Is when you look back at pitches of the older days, back in the 60s when I was getting ready to watch baseball. So, and you
were middle-aged back then, man. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I was trying. But no, you had these pitchers throwing, back to back, you had one pitcher pitching doubleheaders, throwing, 300 pitches in one day, and they were ready for their next start. So our players, especially with pitches, are they over conditioning their bodies where they can't handle it anymore? Because they were, it's not like they had, they were still, they still had weight rooms and training centers, not as immaculate and detailed as they are nowadays. But there has to be something to say maybe the pitches are working out they're too toned, where they're not as their bodies aren't as fluid anymore.
Guys weren't throwing 105 miles an hour with ease back in the 50s and 60s. Like Whitey Ford was not a hard throwing pitcher. The strain on the arm is a lot different nowadays. And these guys back in the day were getting ready for starts, drinking beer and smoking cigarettes. Now you got to take care of your body and you got to do all these different things. So it's a much different game. So do you want your best pitcher possibly throwing an extra 50 pitches? Oh, he gets the historic feat. Great. But he might not be ready for his next start, or he does make his next start. He says, I'm okay to go. And he gets beat up because he's just a little too tired. That's a factor.
No, because I actually believe that even like say that this happened in a game 7, the analytics they would do the exact same thing.
In Game 7, they would have let him pitch, not Game 4.
I don't believe that. I really think that they would still go to the book and be like, all right, because once they hit that 100 pitch plateau, it's like, all right, whoop, got to take them out. There comes a time and a place where you got to put the book away. That's what had been one of our arguments with how the Yankees operate. The analytics cannot, the analytics are there to give you an assist of how you want to attack another team. But you also have to have a feel for how the game is being played out and let the feel of the game take over the book. That's where you're seeing a lot of failures with the Yankees because they're too strict to the book. And a lot of other teams are the same way. The Yankees aren't the only analytical team. We just happen to be the freaking worst at it.
But the Phillies are a very good lineup. He had 97 pitches after 6 innings. That's what I'm telling you. He had 97. So if, like Donald said, you might get one more out of him. And even if he throws another 20, what are you going to get at him in the 8th and 9th? You're putting him at risk for the rest of the series because you want this historic moment in Game 4. Yeah, it'd be great. The first World Series no-hitter since, what was it, Larson? But who cares? If you get the win, great. But you want your best pitcher available because you have a shot now to win. The Phillies had the momentum in their hand going into this game. You just stopped it. You put it to a halt. Forget about the freaking feet for a second. You need your best pitcher because this thing will probably go to 7, and you want your best guy out there.
Somebody agrees.
Almost fell off his seat.
Somebody agrees with me.
Ted's reaction was amazing. I need to cut that. Oh my god! Happy birthday, Ted!
Yeah,
no, listen, you got a point, man. I kind of agree with both sides, to be honest. But maybe on this occasion, with 97 pitches after 6, I'd probably say that the safer option was to take him out. I would have maybe seen if he can go on into the 7th inning. But remember, we had the same debate when Aaron Boone took out Severino, and Severino was pissed. And the reasoning was, well, we've still got a whole postseason to go through, so that's why Severino was taken out. But here's the difference: Aaron Boone put in Castro to blow the no-hitter. Houston had legit arms that can guarantee the no-hitter, like Montero and Presley. They've got excellent arms, so. It's more palatable what Houston did than what Aaron Boone did. If you're gonna take out somebody in a no-hitter, you need to put in a good pitcher to make sure that you've got the best chance of completing that no-hitter. So Severino has that chance at history. So I wonder whether Severino was still carrying that little bit of, being pissed at him into the postseason, because every time that Boone interacted with him, Severino looked like he just looked at him with complete disgust.
Yeah. Michael, the analytics have allowed the Astros to dominate over the
past
5+ years.
Thank you. They use them right. We don't. There's a big difference.
Like, every team uses it. We just have to make we are the worst at it, and that's just the way it is. But no, what really pissed me off the most about the no-hitter in the World Series last night was the Astros. I'll be honest with you. I was begging, like, I don't care if the Astros do win. They were going to win the game. Just don't give them another notch in their belt by letting them get a freaking no-hitter, because that's the last thing that I want to see is any Astros fan able to pump their chest out that they're better than somebody.
They are.
No, I can't. No, I told you, I despise that organization, and I will continue to until anybody from that 1 year is off the team.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't care if they win. If they win, good for them. I do not like Philadelphia. I hate Philadelphia.
I know. I know a lot of.
Obviously, we've got to root for Rob Thompson. That guy is Mr. Yankee, and he's doing an incredible job. Of course, I'm rooting for Philadelphia, but I'll be honest, I've barely watched the World Series. I watched the first 2 games. I've largely been disinterested. Once the Yankee season's over, I'm pretty much over. I've got far bigger issues with the Yankees management than me hating the Astros. Yes, I do not respect the Astros organization. Yes, of course, I'm rooting for Philadelphia. But quite honestly, I respect the fact that Houston are better than the Yankees in every way, shape, and form. They've got a better ownership, better general manager, better team,
Better
better
analytics
analytics,
department.
better everything. And so why waste my time hating the Astros when the Astros do things better than us? So maybe we should learn from the Astros instead of just being so distracted by hating an organization that's better than us. Why don't we learn from them and go, what is it apart from them cheating, right, in 2017 to 2019? But from then on, they've just been better than us. So even after them cheating and then getting caught, and then they come back and then they
lose two of their best players.
Yes,
Three
and
of
they're
their best
still
players.
better than us. So you have to learn from them rather than just hate them, and that's the truth.
No, and Tony, isn't it ironic? Yankee fans hated the Astros, who are a dynasty, and so many people my age hate the Yankees because they were so good in the late '90s with a dynasty. It's not the dynasty. All right, I'm going to explain to you right now. All right, because I really put a lot of thought into because I was trying to pinpoint why I still have so much animosity towards this organization. Okay, and here's what it is. All right, I'm a New Yorker. All right, one thing that we hate is a rat. Okay, these guys ratted out their front office. They sold them out to save themselves and laughed about not being punished for it. They had no penalty for what they did. They still got their contracts. They still got their World Series trophy. They were able, they put everything on the manager and the GM, and they walked away scot-free. They're just nothing but freaking rats.
Oh man, talking all like Tony Soprano there. I don't think they're a dynasty, man. You need to win multiple championships. I do believe that they've only got the one championship under their belt as we speak right now. So you can't call them a dynasty until they have, what was it? I think they need to have minimum 3 over a short stretch before you can discuss dynasty. They're just a very, very good organization. It's not taking anything away from the Astros. They're rightfully in the World Series every year because they're a very, very good organization.
They're an American League dynasty. How about that?
No, but
okay.
Prior to 2017, I actually enjoyed watching Altuve. Finally, somebody my size is playing baseball. You don't have to be the biggest athlete to get a chance. I remember in high school, I got dismissed really quick. When I went for the tryouts because I was barely 5 feet.
What year was that? 1927?
Yeah, 26. So,
you talked to Babe Ruth. He said, "You ain't got it, kid. Sorry."
But so the Astros have shown even if they hadn't cheated in 2017, they still would have beaten the Yankees. Maybe, they
would have beat us. They because the trash cans didn't help them. We just couldn't score in Houston. That's exactly why we lost.
Yeah,
we kicked their ass in the Bronx. They couldn't cheat.
They didn't need to cheat. They didn't need to go through all that, all that when they already had the talent on the field. It's like, why did you embarrass the game the way that you did? And why did you sell out your bosses to save your own ass? I'm sorry, I can't respect that.
I don't know. To me, it's over with at this point because it's so long ago, and we wouldn't have beaten them anyway because we just don't know how to hit when we go to that ballpark. And it's been 5 years, and we still can't hit there. So I can't get mad at the Houston Astros anymore for cheating. Do I think it's annoying? Sure, because I think the way Major League Baseball treated it's worse than the way Houston did it. But look at how they revamped from it though. You lose Correa, you lose Springer, you lose Cole in a matter of 3 years, and you're still dominating. How can you hate on that? They're just a good team, a really, really good team, and they prove it every year. If Dusty Baker knew how to win in the World Series, I would guarantee they win this thing. But he's had troubles with that in his career, so if he can do that this year, good for him. Because I like Dusty. That's kind of why
I like Dusty too. And also another thing is, can we really call it a rivalry since the Astros completely beat our ass every single year? It's not really a rivalry. They're just better than us. So
no, I think
I love the Yankees-Red Sox rivalry because it was a rivalry. There was an intense rivalry. we could beat them, they could beat us at any moment, and it was very close. But this isn't a rivalry. They're just better than us in every single way, shape, and form. It's embarrassing to
I think
admit, but
it's
it's
more of a, with Boston, it was a players' rivalry. I think this time around with the Astros, it's a fan rivalry. I think that's where the rivalry is.
But what do our fans have to say that can get on the Astros fans' nerves? You cheated. Okay, well, we beat you multiple times. That's all. You guys had to use buzzers and trash cans. Not against you. It didn't work, but we still beat you. So, like, how can we respond to that? I can't get mad at them. I can't. I know certain people will and still hold that grudge, but fine. But I can't get mad at the Astros because 2017, which was the height of their biggest cheating thing with the trash can, right? I don't believe that buzzer crap, but the trash can stuff, it did not work. Our pitching was very good except for one game in Houston. We just could not hit. So there it is. I can't get mad at Houston.
What's that saying? People in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. We are in no position to be throwing stones. That's the truth. That's why I say, once we get our house in order, then I can start worrying about other teams. Our team, our house is so broken and so disorganized and actually is targeting their own fan base. I've got so many more issues with that and their lack of accountability than I do any other organization in baseball right now. We fix our house, then I can go, right, I hate the Red Sox again. Oh, great, I can't wait to hate on the Astros. But until then, I've got far more worries about us than I do them, and I'll just respect them if they beat our pants off right now because they're doing things better than us with a less payroll, and that means that they're smarter. Truth. Sorry, guys, it's the facts.
No, I just can't. I can't let it go. Believe me, I could hold a grudge with the fucking best of them, as you see. But it aggravates me. It really does. But some of these comments here are really going on. So, Michael, if the Astros had been able to control in Correa, this definitely would have been a dynasty by now. Yeah, I think that. Yeah, no. Look,
well, they've got a pretty good shortstop now.
Are the Astros a dynasty?
The rookie shortstop.
Yeah.
We have our own rookie shortstop, but we're not interested in playing him.
No. We have like KF. What do we need a shortstop for?
Yeah, exactly.
No, Pena is phenomenal this year. You can't take anything away from that kid. He was exciting to watch.
That whole team's phenomenal. They don't have a weak spot. Like Chaz McCormick's getting big hits for them. Like they just know how to play baseball.
So, Sunny Matthew, why hate the Astros for winning the last 6 years? Can't hate them for that. The Yankees need to learn how to build a team from the Houston Astros. All right. Who wants to?
Facts.
I'm just repeating myself here. I'm not. Look, the Astros have a very good team. They didn't need to do what they did. I can't say that enough.
But it has nothing to do with their team right now, though.
Forgetting about the cheating. I'm done with the cheating. Like we can complain about the cheating up to about 2020. I think was basically the last time you can complain about their cheating. Over the last 2 years, they have still pulverized us with a completely new team and a completely new front office. So the problem is the Yankees.
They lost their platinum glove winning shortstop. Said, okay, we're going to replace him with our top prospect. They lost Garrett Cole. Said, okay, well, we have Valdez and we have Javier. We have McCullers already. We're going to bring back Verlander when he's healthy. We don't need him. And they didn't. So what they're doing, they're just showing that they use analytics better. They know the sport better than our front office because it's a lot younger and it's a lot more in tune with today's game than ours because we still got people from the freaking 90s dynasty that are trying to replicate that with modern baseball. It's just not going to happen. It's a completely different sport. The Astros adapted. They got rid of pretty much everybody that was part of that cheating scandal aside from the players, but some of them are gone. Some of them are still there, but yet doesn't matter because Altuve is still one of the better players in baseball and so is Bregman. And they prove it every single year in the playoffs. They come up with big hits. It was Bregman yesterday who broke the scoreless tie by going the other way on a 100-mile-an-hour pitch. You don't need a trash can for that. I'm sorry. No buzzer is going to help you hit that. That's just a good hitter doing something really good. So, again, cheating, put it aside. The Astros are freaking mountains higher than us right now in terms of organizational health and depth and talent, everything. We have a lot of talent on this team roster-wise, but they blow us out of the water in terms of the front office.
And Robo, you already mentioned. So, like, they lose Garrett Cole, they have Christian Javier ready to step in. They lose Correa, who's rated as the number one free agent right now on the market, and they replace him with an internal shortstop. The Yankees, if they lose Aaron Judge, you might as well give up. The Yankees, if they lose Rizzo, who if he opts out, the Yankees don't have a first baseman on the 40-man. So that's what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? If the Yankees, if either Garrett Cole or Nestor Cortez is unavailable next year, the Yankees don't have a pitcher ready to step in. And that is what I'm talking about. The Yankees don't have the internal options that the Houston Astros do. The Houston Astros are building a really good organization. You got to give them credit for that. The Yankees are so top heavy. If they lose one of their top guys, they're finished. Forget about it.
Yeah, Michael Eds. They also lost Springer. It's another one.
I mentioned him because they replaced him with whoever they're replacing him with. They had Aledmus Diaz playing left field, or Alvarez is playing right or DHing. They have Tucker who's playing a key role for them. It doesn't matter who they lose. Like you just said, Donald, if we lose Aaron Judge, who's playing right field next year? Because they don't want to put Stanton in the outfield every day. We're going to put Cabrera out there, then who's playing left? We're going to play Bader for a whole season and expect him to do what he did in October? Probably not. So we lose Judge, we lose Rizzo. This team is 85 wins at best.
Oh my God! If we were really lucky.
Yep. And Michael throws in. He's like, save the tape from this show, and based on the Yankees' move so far, you could just repeat them and repeat it next October. Yeah, we've been pretty much having the same postseason.
We talked about it last year.
We could probably play the ones from the 2 years ago that we did, and they'll still be relevant today. Because it's if Judge leaves the Yankees in 2023, American League East champions, the Orioles. I said it here first.
Well, I don't know about that, but I'll tell you, credit to the Orioles, man. They're building a good organization too, and certainly the Yankees could maybe learn some things about again development of prospects.
Modernizing, being modern.
Yeah.
Getting with the times. Stop trying to be the rocking or the chair. What's the goddamn saying? The guy on the rocking chair. They're too old. The front office is too old. The roster's too old. Let's just call it what it is. They're stuck in the past. Spending money can only get you so far. Because look at what it did for the Mets. They spent a ton of money. Did they win this year? No. Look what spending money did for the Dodgers. Did they win this year? No. You have to be able, and they have really good teams too. So sometimes you just have to have a good mix. You can use your payroll, but you also have to use analytics well. That's what the Astros do. What the Phillies do. Look at the Phillies. They have a ton of highly paid guys in their roster, and yet they mix in a lot of youth. They use their young guys already. Bryson Stott.
Our GM doesn't believe in the youth infusion. It didn't. He feels that because we haven't won yet since 2017. When they did the call-ups in 16. Sorry, because that didn't work, we can't bring any more of the kids up. We may bring up one or two, but that formula isn't where we have to go free agent and just bury our prospects.
Great question by Michael H. here. So would you guys go for the Yankees signing Correa and placing him at third base?
I'd put him at short. I'd keep him at short. He's too good. I'm confident Volpe can play second. And if you sign Correa, which we know they won't, but hypothetically, you can trade Peraza for some really good pitching. And I love Peraza, but they've already shown they don't really trust him, even though they called him up. So you might as well, and he already proved that he can hit at the major level, so his value is actually up now.
Disgusting what the Yankees did to Peraza. I'll never forgive them for it.
I
had 800 OPS and a 300 batting average, and the most beautifully smooth shortstop that I'd seen in 3 years, and the Yankees treated him like yesterday's garbage. Absolute embarrassment for your number 2 overall prospect. I really hope that the Yankees learn from that. But would I have Correa play some third base? Sure. I would love Correa at third, Perez at short, Volpe at second. That would be absolutely dream stuff. You trade Torres and you get younger. and we'd be in a good shape. But I think that we could be looking at DJ LeMahieu playing third, and I would be happy with that. You could have a situation where Correa plays short. Maybe he spells time with Peraza. Maybe Peraza can play second until Volpe's ready. We don't know when Volpe is going to be ready. We don't know if Volpe is going to be ready off the bat. I would love to look at a Correa, and a proper Yankee organization would consider a Correa right now. Let me just put it that way.
No, if the Yankees go after Correa, they have to. He's got to be the shortstop. They can't keep bringing in these free agents and playing them out of position. It doesn't work. So if he's a shortstop, that's the position you hire him for. Don't move him all over the place because you're going to screw him up. Yeah, because we already saw that happen. We had a Gold Glove third baseman playing shortstop all year. How'd that work for us? It doesn't. We had Torres just because he was drafted as a shortstop. Let's put him in shortstop, even though he was a phenomenal second baseman.
Yeah.
Then they screwed him all up. So the Yankees don't know. The Yankees just don't know how to utilize their talent.
They don't. That's it, man. That's it. Cashman's actually tried to modernize. He's tried to go all in on the analytics, but the problem is he's got such an ego, and he needs to be a king rather than just a general manager, and that's why he's had to hire a manager not to have any role other than just as a mouthpiece. So it was, if you bring in your own ego instead of just modernizing, that's where the problem lies. So yeah, they completely screwed up development. Cashman has never been good at development. That has never been his thing. His role has always been he's excellent at contracts and all this negotiating and trades and all. It's one of the things that he really loved to do, and he loved to just to go in and just show the money and go, you're going to be a Yankee, that kind of thing. That kind of he's a tough dude, but internal development, that's not him. It's never been him, and I think he's already admitted that in the past. That's never been him.
He hasn't developed prospects. Like, what prospect besides Aaron Judge? To a degree, you can say Severino, but injuries have slowed down his career. But think this goes all the way back to when he took over. What prospect really, really panned out? Cano? Who else?
Really
exactly. Is. Silence.
Because there is
Judge, Cano.
Torres looked like he was going to put it together.
Severino. I mean, that's going back as far as 20 years.
Maybe we would have said
Torres for about 2 years
until they moved them, until they screwed him up.
Yeah.
If Torres, that's a good question. If Torres never moves away from second base, does he still, are we still looking at him like we got to get rid of him, or are we saying we got to keep him? That's a question that is going to be in the back of some fans' heads.
Oh yeah, he'd be better than he is now. Because you already saw how much better he was at second this year than he was at short last year, and it improved him offensively. Only question with me and him is it baseball IQ? Yeah. And I think that's always going to be something that's going to stop him from being one of the elite players in baseball. His IQ is kind of low for someone with that kind of experience. Plus, there's always been that thing hanging over him about the questionable effort when he jogs it out to first base. These kind of things just stops you from being elite. I think he's born with just an immense amount of talent. But if you don't have that internal passion to be the very, very best and just settle for very good, then that affects your development. I think that's what's happened with Gleyber Torres. But Brian Cashman destroyed him, moving him to short. I think he'd have been still a very, very good player at second base. He still is. It's just I think that there's still that element of IQ with him, which holds him back.
No, and one question for Cashman from me would be, with Torres, do you call the Miami back and say, all right, do you want to make this move? Do you want to revisit the trade for Lopez with Torres? And what else, what now that we're not under the pressure of a deadline, that we have the off season, let's see if we can work something out for both teams to be, feel like they won.
I wouldn't be surprised.
It'll probably cost you more at this point.
Yeah, no, I know it will, but as long as it's not. Well, I mean, they're not going to use. As soon as they can ask for a low A prospect. The Cats would be like, "No, we got to hold them," and pull back on the trade. But because I don't. I think they got to go more trades than free agents this year because you're gonna need to make sure that you have, the ability to keep countering offers to maintain, to keep Judge. I think that's gonna really, really screw everything up.
That's what they've been doing. They don't sign free agents anymore. They get the one guy, like 2 years ago it was Cole. They don't sign anybody else. A few years before that, they actually had a pretty busy offseason in 2019, but it was LeMahieu. They signed back Hap and Britton. They spent a decent amount of money that offseason. However, the guys they could have had, but that's another discussion that we've already had 17 times. So
yeah.
Well, we're gonna have to look at this Rizzo situation, man, because if he opts out,
he will.
in that case, if he does opt out, which it certainly looks like he will, then the Yankees need to acquire a first baseman, and I don't think there's a first baseman in free agency, and there's not a first baseman on our 40 man, and I don't want DJ LeMahieu playing first base.
No.
So we need to acquire a first baseman. Maybe you use Gleyber Torres as a piece to acquire a first baseman that provides defense and a good swing from the left side. There's a lot of questions to ask, man.
Yeah,
a lot of questions to ask.
This whole season is gonna be long. It's gonna be dreadful. They're all gonna, there's gonna be a lot of highs and lows because especially when you have a free agent, with two free agents named Correa and Judge on the market, it's going to be you're in for nothing's going to get done quick because they're going to hold out for their money. That's what it's going to come down to. The money's going to talk, and the Yankees and the Giants are going to they're going to butt heads constantly. The Dodgers are always going to have their name in and that was the other thing. A lot of these teams, they keep saying, well, we hear that this team is interested in that. Why wouldn't they be? They would be doing their team a disservice if they're like, no, we don't want to talk to them. We don't need to look into if we can get Judge. We don't need that.
There's only like 3 teams in baseball that you can say will definitely 100% certainty not be on Aaron Judge. That is the Pittsburgh Pirates, Oakland Athletics, and Washington maybe.
Might be the Las Vegas Athletics from what we hear. Rob Manfred says it's very unlikely that they're going to.
Yeah, Manfred's putting pressure on them.
But they need to get out of that damn dump. Yeah. That thing's falling apart. You got nobody showing up, and when they do, there's extracurricular activities happening. Nobody wants to watch that team play.
It's literally the only highlight of their season.
Yeah. Speaking of extracurricular activity, let's just talk about that real quick.
Right on cue. But no, it's we're gonna be we'll have plenty of time to break down who goes where, what teams are involved, and all that. But that is gonna wrap things up for us today. So we appreciate everybody watching. Mike, Tony, Luca, thank you for all the comments. Suni, Matthew, thank you for the comments.
Thank you, guys.
I've been watching Pinstripe Chronicles on Northeast Streaming Sports on Roku. You can hear us also on Sportswire Radio. Wear your pinstripes with pride and play hard.
Resign John.